What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the
What's
David
going on,
Greene
everyone?
Show.
Welcome.
I can't say that I missed that, but I'm also kind of glad that it's here. Welcome to Real Talk Real Estate. We've got a special guest in the house, the handsome, the charming, the bearded, the built, the buff, and the intelligent Bawandin Tuna.
I'm really sad you didn't get a B word for intelligent. Isn't there a B word for intelligent? You had the B, and then you went intelligent.
I couldn't think of one as I was talking, and I really can't think of one now. Bright.
Bright. Oh.
And see, folks, this is how you know that this is a legit show, because we're not going to go back and re-edit this so that I can sound smarter. We're going to show you.
I just asked ChatGPT to tell us what's a B word for intelligence, and it said brilliance, brains, bright. You got that one right. Brain power.
And this is why in 5 years I will be way smarter than Brandon, because he will have used ChatGPT and I will actually still be using my brain.
You got to use the tools you got, man.
Brandon loves ChatGPT. How often a day do you use that thing?
Oh, 20 times a day at least.
Okay, first question of the show. Do you think that in the future the words ChatGPT will be equivalent in AI to when we say MS-DOS? Do you remember DOS?
I do remember DOS. I used to use DOS back in the day. Yeah, probably it'll be replaced by like 4 other things over time. We don't know the winner yet. It's kind of like, back in the day of cars, we didn't know which car brand was going to be the big one. Ford was one of 2,000 car companies, and it happened to become the big one. We don't know who it is. We don't know. ChatGPT is just going to be one of those. Oh yeah, remember that one thing? Unless it becomes like the big one right away and then like just takes everyone out and kills us all, which is also probably 50-50. So
I don't think it'll be called ChatGPT. I think it'll be called the name of a person, and it'll be customized.
Beelzebub.
Yeah, that's probably true. If you guys like that and you want to know more about who Beelzebub is, send me the word faith on Instagram in my DMs. You will get an auto reply, and I'll be telling more about it. But in today's show, I'm joined by my best friend, Brandon Turner, on Seeing Greene. He's going to be joining me answering questions from you, the listener base. To participate in the show, if you guys would like to be featured on the show, head over to davidgreen24.com/ask, where you can submit your question. And guess what? If you don't, we won't have a show, and you'll just have to listen to Brandon and I talking about nonsense like ChatGPT and alliteration in compliments for him. And I don't know that he's going to get a haircut every single time before the show like he did today.
I will every time. That's what I do. I have my on-site haircut stylist, barber. That's what they're called.
Every time you say that, you sound like a rich jerk. You know how often you do that? I have an on-site massage person. It's not enough that I have enough money to get a massage, but I have an on-site massage person.
They're full-time, 40 hours a week. They literally live right here, and they come over and they cut my hair every day. It's really a beautiful thing. No, I go to Phyllis down at DK Barbershop down in Kihei.
He does.
Which is Phyllis is great.
Phyllis is okay. Yeah, I know a little bit about Phyllis. You could call her great. There's other words that could probably be described. I think she's loyal. I'll give her that.
She's loyal. She's great.
All right. So, Brandon, have you ever watched the Seeing Greene episode on the David Greene Show?
No.
You've never done it?
I've watched clips. I don't watch podcasts.
Okay. Well, hopefully our listeners do. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be hearing this.
They watch clips. That's why this show is so good, is because you get like 50 clips out of it. You put them on social media.
Yeah.
Who has time for a podcast? Ugh.
People that still use their brains and don't ChatGPT things.
People that drive to work. I walk 12 feet.
Second question. Does it feel weird and awkward to not be the one opening the show where I have to wait for my turn?
Yeah, that's why I had to interrupt you and cut in. It's not allowed.
I like that you're admitting it. I respect that. I knew it had to be hard.
No, this is super easy, man. I live on podcasts these days. That's all I do anymore is podcasts. And this is my favorite podcast on the planet. So I'm honored to be here.
You heard it here first, folks. All right. Today's show, before we get into it, is sponsored by TurboTenant. TurboTenant is a property management software designed to help property owners streamline the rental process by providing tools for listing properties, screening tenants, collecting rent online, and managing leases. We use TurboTenant for all of my long-term rentals, and guess who else has 2 thumbs and uses TurboTenant?
This guy.
That's right. Brandon and I both like it. Anything you want to add about it?
Just that I think that they are probably the most affordable for what you get, if that makes sense. I mean, you can spend 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year on the
best ROI.
Yeah. But yeah, best ROI. It's like a Netflix account. It's like super cheap, and they do like a million things and they do it well. So big fan.
So if you like to make good business decisions, you like a good ROI, and you want to use what the cool kids use, we're also assuming that Brandon and I are cool kids. We're probably
Very much not
dorks
cool
in
kids.
a lot of ways. Go check out Turbo Tenant. All right, Brandon, anything you want to say or ask or do before we get to our first question here?
Yeah, I just want to say that I am honored to be here, and that anything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law. So,
And this is the first person in my career that ever Mirandized himself. Before, that's how strong his guilty conscience is. He's like, I'm going to Mirandize me in case you forget.
Do you know the whole thing still?
That's a good question. In fact, when we used to say it, funny story. Let me give you like the background on law enforcement here. I think Arizona versus Miranda is where the case comes from, and it came from a person that was asked questions by police when they were in custody, and they used the statements that were made by the person against them in law, and the lawyer came in and said, hey, he never would have said that if he knew that he could have had a lawyer. So after that, we made it a rule in law enforcement that anytime you want to interrogate someone or ask them questions and they are in custody, you have to say this first. A lot of people think that this means you're not under arrest if the cops forget to tell you. It's like one of those, like, the people that all think that they're lawyers that think that the arrest doesn't count if they don't say. It's not that. It's just, if they don't tell you that, any statements that you make won't be admissible in court. But they might ask you on the stand, do you know the Miranda rights, Officer Greene? And I'd say yes. And they'd say, recite them for me when you're nervous. So what we would do to get around this is what it was like a cat and mouse game with law enforcement all the time. We would always read out of a little book we had what the Miranda statement was. Even though we had it memorized, you would do that and you'd put in your report, I read them their Miranda rights per my department issued blue blankety blank book. So that if the attorneys in court wanted to try to make me say it, I could pull the book out and I could read it on the stand and I didn't look stupid, because you don't want to look dumb in front of the jury that you don't remember it. And that's how I'm going to get out of saying that I don't know if I know it by heart.
I was going to say, where's the book? You're going to pull it out right now.
Yeah, it started with, you have the right
ChatGPT
to
that
remain
thing.
silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. That's probably where it goes. I lose it. All the cops that are listening are like, come on, man, you're halfway there.
You can do it, man.
Better question. Have you ever been read those rights in your life?
No.
You've never
Except for
heard
the
of them?
time that we were rolling in jiu-jitsu and you pinned my arms behind my back, jumped on top of me, and then you got really into the moment and started yelling the Miranda rights at me, and then you actually threw me in the back of a cop car and took me to jail. That was a weird day.
Except it was a Tesla, and
and we went to the beach.
and we went to Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I was on top, and it was, yeah, you know.
Your first tap out was using a police hold. When you described it to me, it was actually how we would put someone in handcuffs from the prone position. Do you remember this?
The little old lady that was like 80 pounds? Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, the
Shove her
first
arm up
one.
her back.
Yes, that's what she did. You put her arm behind her back. You just kept going until she said tap, which is the same way that we would get compliance from people that were fighting, and then we would put the handcuffs on. So you got a little intercop in you yourself.
You know, it's important. I've gone far in life because of that.
That and the haircut. All right, let's get into the first question here. First question comes from Jonathan Boston about FHA loans.
Hi, David. I'm pretty stoked on the podcast. It's good to have a sober perspective on the tough side of real estate and not just fluff about how every deal is a cakewalk. I'm a real estate broker in Boston. I own 7 rental properties, and I've guided hundreds of people through selling and buying homes. I thought I knew how my clients felt.
Okay, before we go any further, Brandon, do you believe that this man is indeed from Boston based on that accent?
I was just gonna say I'm really disappointed by the accent. I was a little sad. I think he's hiding something.
I'm waiting to see if he says an R. If he says an R, I'm gonna be like, this is a fraud. On the first fraud on the David Greene show. All right, let's see where
down
it
at
goes.
the bar.
Going through the process of getting FHA mortgages.
Yeah, he didn't say mortgages. He said mortgages.
You're right.
I recently went through this process of getting my first FHA loan on a primary residence for my wife and I. It sort of threw me for a loop. I think the lending industry is supposed to be crystal clear and transparent. It felt like a never-ending checklist of one more thing after another with no clear guidelines. After a while, I asked them, what are the actual requirements that the underwriter needs to approve me for this loan? They seemed unable to provide me with a list, and I kept getting the feeling that there wasn't a specific criteria of requirements. It was more about the underwriter's gut feeling about me. I didn't run into many issues about owner occupancy, but I did have to write them a letter explaining why I was moving to the new house. Is there a criteria around this, or is it as simple as the underwriter getting a good feeling about my letter? Also, who is the mystery underwriter? And I feel like I'm dealing with the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. And if he says I need to dress up like the Tin Man and overnight my bank statements to him by flying monkey post, I guess I have to do it if I want the house. And I'm just dying to know, why does the process feel so unclear?
All right. The lobotomy that is getting a mortgage. I've got a mortgage company. You've got a mortgage company. Tell me, Brandon, what do you think about this question so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is getting a bank loan, whether it's FHA or otherwise. I always say it's like a combination lock, right? You got to like turn it 3 times this way, 4 times that way, 5 times that way, but it will open every time you get the lock right. You know, and those combinations or those numbers are like your debt to income, your loan to value, the condition of the property, your credit score, right? It's like this stuff. You got to get the combo right. Now, I think what he's alluding to in the problem is like in the questions, how like. Why are there so many combinations? Like, why are so many numbers on this combination? Why do I just keep going and they keep wanting more and more? I would say that's probably one of 3 things, is my thought. Number one, it just is, there's a lot of stuff. FHA has a lot of requirements. If you're used to doing like DSCR loans, which they're like, hey, can you breathe? Great, here's your loan. Not quite that bad, but DSCR loans are way easier to qualify for. FHA does have a lot of requirements, and they got to fit all these round pegs in these round holes. And if you're a little bit off, they're going to make you then therefore go and back that up. So it could just be complicated. Number 2, a lot of lenders are just unorganized, just disorganized, or loan officers are just disorganized. Like, you send them paperwork, and then like a week later, they're like, hey, can I get that paperwork? And you're like, I sent it. And they're like, no, you didn't. Then you have to like go show them the email. They're like, oops. And they just constant, right? Because they're people and they're just unorganized. And then third is, I do think that there's some kind of like that like power trip that you do get sometimes, where there's like, well, I got a hunch that this guy might be making this thing up, so I'm going to get some more proof on this. I need to see 3 months of pay stubs instead of 2. I think that's the most unlikely scenario here. But what do you think?
I think that's some really good insight that you just provided. I think this is a common frustration with loans. This comes up a lot of the time. I actually think, and I pray to God he's not using the one brokerage, because he's having a bad experience and I'm about to incriminate ourselves, and I haven't been read my Miranda rights. So this can't be used against me if this is the case. Yeah, I think he has a bad loan officer. Here is the way the process works. We often use the phrase lender and loan officer synonymously, but Brandon caught himself when he started to do that, because there is a difference. The lender is the person funding your deal. The loan officer is basically like the broker that's brokering this. So lenders are like, hey, find us a person that matches these requirements and we'll give them this much money. But then they offload the work of finding out if you meet those requirements to the loan officer, who also found the lead, which is the person. The loan officer that makes a lot of money is really good at finding the leads. They have good marketing. They have a good personality. They know all the people. They make you feel good, but they're often not the person that's good at doing their job. Like you said, they're disorganized. So what happens in reality is the loan officer says, here's the stuff I need. They send you a link that their broker put together. They have no idea how it works. You go through this excruciating process of submitting all these PDFs and downloading documents and doing everything. Loan officer doesn't even know what you did. He looks and says, okay, is everything where it's supposed to be? I think so. He sends it off to the lender, who has their own underwriter, and the underwriter's job is to make sure that the loan officer did everything they're supposed to do. The loan officers usually don't check it. At the one brokerage, we pound our guys about this. Like, your job is to get it before the underwriter ever can. It's not just to give it to them. Well, when they're lazy, they give it to the underwriter. The underwriter comes back, says, here's all the stuff that you missed. Get it right. And then the loan officer goes back to you, the borrower, and is like, hey, here's all the stuff I need. And you're like, what the hell? I gave you this one. Or why didn't you tell me that before? And they don't want to tell you, because I didn't look at it, because I'm disorganized, because I don't know, because I'm lazy. So I let the underwriter tell me what I need, and then I go ask it from you. A wise man with a nice haircut once told me that nobody likes to be the villain in their own story, which means nobody likes to admit that they're wrong. So your loan officer doesn't want to tell you that they screwed this thing up. They just want you to like them. And a lot of them, especially salespeople, they really like to be liked. Not being liked is their kryptonite. And so that's how you get this stupid back and forth game of constantly being asked for things that you already gave, asked for new things. Now it took too long because they're 2 weeks behind. So now they need another set of pay stubs because it's been 2 weeks, and it can get really frustrating. What do you think about that?
I think you nailed it, man. That's exactly it.
Nobody likes to be the villain in their own story. Do you remember how long it was ago that you first told me that?
No.
What do you think it was that led you to tell me that? Do you think it was like your way of saying, David, you'll never admit when you're wrong?
I don't think it was about you.
No,
I think that a lot. I think everyone believes they're the hero, just like King David in the Bible. Was he?
That's funny. Should we get into that? Should we tell people why you're bringing that up?
David Greene here has a man crush on King David from the Bible, and I just enjoy poking that stick and poking that wound with a stick and saying, "Are you sure he's a good guy? Are you sure he's a worthy hero?"
Do you think this is the one thing that we might actually fall on different sides over?
No, I don't think I have much of an opinion other than just
you don't care that much. You just like that it gets to me. Yeah.
Yep.
So the background here is that King David did a lot of amazing things for the kingdom of God. He also did some horrible things in his personal life. Okay. Brandon likes to focus on the horrible things that he did and ignore the amazing heroic feats that the guy accomplished.
He murdered a dude. He murdered
a guy indirectly. That's one of those bad things.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like in today's world, we put him in the electric chair for that. It's like it's not like, oh, he cheated on his high school entrance test or whatever. No, he had a dude murdered because he wanted to sleep with his wife. And it's like,
he already slept with his wife. He didn't want to get caught for doing it.
He didn't want to get caught, and he wanted to do it again. Yeah. So he goes, kills the guy, and then marries the woman.
Not his best day. Absolutely. This is an example of God's grace. However, we're also leaving out the fact that David killed thousands or tens of thousands of people that were enemies of the Israelites that were trying to kill them and attack them and terrorize them and murder them. So how many lives did he save, Brandon? You're not including that in your analysis.
How many fathers did not come home because of David? How many little kids cried at night because their daddy would never come home because of evil?
We're probably talking about like Nephilim giants that were just
I'm talking about
eating people alive.
Bob. He worked at the local, house building guild, and he got drafted into some army. And out there on the field, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Bob the Philistine. Murdered. That's who.
Bob the Philistine gets straight up hacked in half from King David because David's got an ego and he thinks he needs to hack everyone in half when really he should have been at home.
These are conversations that Brandon and I have live for all of you to hear. All right, let's get to our next question from Sarah Schoolcraft.
Hi David, my name's Sarah Schoolcraft. Just want to say thanks for all you do. Love the channel, of course, with real estate, spiritual, life coaching. So thanks for all your knowledge. Been watching you for a couple years now, and you've actually guided me through my first property. It was a house hack, bought it for $309, 3% down. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, excellent area, 10 minutes walking to the beach. Similar units right now are selling for about $315, $320. Others in the neighborhood about $450. And so first year I was renting out one of the rooms. Now I rent out both sides, and been blessed with excellent tenants. So that's not the issue. The thing is, right now there's been a lot of repairs, and it seems like they just keep growing and growing. So first it was a trench drain. First guy was a scammer. That's a whole other story. But now there's a hot water issues, sediment in the water pipes. So it's just like one thing after the next. Right now, not really cash flow like $100 a month, but there is potential for a lot of appreciation. And that's the question. So should I be moving that energy to something that's better, not so much of a headache and cash flow is better, or suck it up, do the repairs and wait for that appreciation? That is, of course, future goals is build generational wealth, build a lot of equity, so I can, quit my job and travel the world. But I don't need to sell it. I mean, right now I do have a decent amount in savings, have a full-time job, self-employed, and I'm actually closing on my second property, which is gonna be a DSCR loan, and that's in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I would just love your opinion on all of that. Where the people can find me, I also post a lot of travel content on my YouTube channel, Travel with Sass. And hope I make the cut. Thanks for all you do, David.
Cool. All right. Sarah did indeed make the cut, and you're welcome. And this is a true fan because she knew all the stuff I talk about. She mentioned the faith stuff, and she even used the phrase energy when talking about the equity in her house, which is a thing that I've been saying. So this is someone who's been paying attention. And now, Brandon, you get to weigh in on this dilemma of what should she do, and is she in a hurry to get too many properties to be able to travel the world?
I don't think she's in a hurry. I think that's fine. I just think it's weird. Like, I've never had a rental property with like problems. It's like super strange to me that like you'd have, I'm just kidding.
She must have done something terribly wrong.
Yeah. What did you do wrong? I mean, oh, water heater issues. No, I'm kidding. Of course, that is the life of a real estate investor. In fact, I would probably argue you will never make, I'll say a bold statement here. You'll never make any cash flow on that property. You'll lose money every single year for as long as you own that property, maybe for the next 5 or 10 years. And eventually maybe rents will go up so high that you're going to make money, but let's just assume you will never make money on that property cash flow. However, I think you're aware of that the appreciation is the play on that one. If you got good debt that you're not worried about, if you got a good career and job, you can handle breaking even. I mean, if you start losing $1,000 a month every month because of stuff, fine, deal with it. I would just accept the fact that you're not going to make any money, reevaluate your return on equity often so you can figure out if you can take, I mean, if you got $100,000 equity, okay, fine, dump that into something you can make more cash flow from, fine, or get more appreciation from, or do a BRRRR where you can immediately improve the value so you get a big bump right up front. But I would argue that most rental property owners are in the same place you are, and they don't realize it, that rental properties don't actually produce much cash flow. What I would consider, though, if you want to increase your cash flow, is switch your strategy up. Maybe just traditional rental. Did she say it was traditional rental, just like normal, or did she say?
I think she mentioned normal. It was near the beach, and it was 300,000. So it almost sounded like a condo from what she was describing.
Well, yeah, even if it was a condo, I mean, like I wonder because she said she has great tenants, so they are long term. So I guess I would consider, could you do with that property? And then again, you rent out both sides. Did she mention duplex? Is this a lock-off condo maybe like I have?
I don't think she said what kind of property it was.
Yeah. Either way, I would look into maybe like, can you get more out of a midterm rental? That would be my first approach. There would be if you really care about the cash flow, you might be able to get an extra $1,000 a month out of a midterm rental. Have a little bit more vacancy in the a little bit more maybe. And you got to pay a little bit more for utilities. But I would look at that if you're going to care about cash flow. Otherwise, just say, hey, I got my first deal. It's not cash flowing the super a lot. It got me into the game. It is what it is. I'm going to sell it later and move on.
How much of this do you think comes from the wrong expectations in the beginning where she was told that you're going to get a lot of cash flow? Cash flow is going to get you out of the rat race, and then you can travel the world once you get a couple properties.
Yeah, probably a fair amount. I mean, the advice that used to work, that was true. Like you could buy a house on MLS and make $500 a month in cash flow on it, actual pure cash flow after the water heater and all that. That did used to exist in some markets. And so now all the books, including ours, were all written in those times.
Yeah.
And all the podcasts back then were in that, YouTube videos were in that time. That is not today. And so when you're paying 8% for your rate or 7% for your rate and prices are double, you're not getting that cash flow. Again, I'm not one to say you can't get cash flow. I think you just got to go midterm rental, short-term rental, rent by the room, assisted living, something like that. If you want to get cash flow, you're not going to get it off traditional long-term tenants and hope to survive. Now, can you survive through and get the appreciation? Sure. I think property value is going to keep going up, but
solid point.
We got to expect different.
I think if Sarah wants to travel the world, she's going to need a combination of a lot of the things you said. So she's going to need to get a couple more properties, more intensive. Let's just say short-term rentals or medium-term rentals where you're going to have some communication, but you can do that while traveling. Then you're going to want to meet some people that also have properties like that in your area. You're going to manage it for them, and you're going to get some extra income coming in. If you kind of combine becoming a property manager for managing your own properties and creating income outside of just the cash flow that your tenant pays you on a long-term rental, you can get to the point that she's talking about. It's just much harder than when the books that were written about it describe it.
Agreed. And if I wanted the fastest way to get to like 10,000 a month so I could like quit my job and travel the world, personally, I would probably go do one. I'd spend a whole year learning and planning and strategizing and working for somebody who does this. I would buy after that year, I'd buy one residential assisted living. I'd spend a year figuring it out, making all the mistakes you're going to figure out. And at the end of that year, you're never going to make any money on your first deal. Most people don't. Your second deal, though, is going to get you retired. Just 2 deals in residential assisted living. The first one you're going to break even on because you're going to make a bunch of mistakes. Second one is where you're going to make your money. And 2 years in, you can quit your job and travel the world. That's just one strategy. I'm not saying you have to, but that's what I would do if I were I needed to get to 10K a month quickly. I'd do residential assisted living.
If you had a residential assisted living property and you had people in it and you went to visit it, would you or would you not eat the Jell-O?
I would totally eat the Jell-O. I just made Jell-O for my kids the other day. It was so freaking good. They've never had Jell-O. That was their first time. It was just like a impulse buy at the grocery store. Like, wouldn't it be funny if we made Jell-O? Dude, it's so good. It's got to be the red Jell-O though, like cherry or strawberry. It can't be the orange stuff.
Jello is also a really good ROI.
Mm,
Like the enjoyment level out of what you spend on Jello
agree.
is pretty solid.
I agree. Growing up, my family would always do. My mom still to this day, every holiday, it's my favorite dessert. It's not dessert. They call it salad, Jello salad, but it's literally just whipped cream or Cool Whip mixed with like half hard Jello. It's like not all the way like solid, but like not like liquid. And you mix it all together with Cool Whip or whatever in a mixer with mixing. It is the best tasting thing you've ever had. It's so
We do something similar on Thanksgiving. Every
Dude.
year they have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it actually contrasts kind of nice with like the turkey and the
I
gravy
agree.
that's a little more heavy and that's a
Yep.
little lighter.
I agree.
Funny, I didn't know other people did that. Also, if you guys didn't know, there's not a human being alive that's not named Joey Chestnut that can eat faster than Brandon Turner. He is a freak of nature, and he is this skinny. I'm convinced that you just have a host of tapeworms that you feed every 4 hours, and that's how you do this.
I've named them too. It's actually like Chuck and Meredith. It's great.
All right, our next question comes from Travis Lake in Chapin, South Carolina.
Hey David, this is Travis from South Carolina. I've been wrestling with this question for about 6 months now, really trying to figure out what the best route is. I currently have a 5-bedroom home that I renovated, put about $70,000 in renovations in. My current mortgage is $1,200. My rent is about $2,100. My interest rate is 8%. So my question is, should I do a cash out refi or should I leave it alone? Right now, I don't have any cash reserves. All of my money is pretty much tied up in this home. I do have a $60,000 HELOC that I can tap into if I need to. So I'm doing fine. I'm not losing any sleep over the fact that I don't have cash reserves, but I really don't feel like I have the ability to scale and buy more properties because my money is tied up in equity in this home. Also, my interest rate being at 8%, if I refi now, I can get to 7%, so I can get a 1% better rate. So my dilemma is really, I feel the squeeze a little bit. I'm not losing any sleep at night, but I feel like if I had this money, I could really kind of be on the lookout for more deals and have the ability to buy, but I wouldn't have anything to buy at the current moment, so I could be just waiting for a while. So just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on whether I should do cash out refi now, get a little bit of a lower rate, and just start looking for deals immediately and release some of that equity. Or should I just wait? Thanks.
All right. So he's house rich, cash poor. What do you think that he should do?
Do you think the HELOC's on that property, or do you think it's on a different property, like his own?
It sounded like
Probably
that
on his own
one.
personal. You think it's on that one? Because in that case, like other than saving the interest, dropping from 8 to 7, you might even be able to get a high 6, like 6.75. I just got one for my Atlanta house that I just bought. So you can probably get down to the high 6s. I mean, maybe that's worth it. You spend $3,000, $4,000 in closing costs to save yourself $100 a month. Probably worth it mathematically. But the 60K HELOC is probably enough that, like, if something went wrong, you can pull from that. I think it's probably silly to go and refi, pull out 30, 40, 50, 60K in cash that you're now paying interest on and stick it in the bank. That seems a little silly to me. So you feel comfortable having money. But as he alluded to, if he had that money, he'd go buy something more. 100%, I would do it for that reason. If you get that cash out, I would rather do that than do a HELOC, because HELOCs are going to be variable interest rate usually. So I'd rather refi, get the cash, take that money, and go turn it into more money. As long as you believe you have the skill set to go out and turn that money into more than what you're paying for the interest.
I think that's sound. I would rather see him do a rate and term refi. Don't take cash out. Go from 8 to 7%. That's about if it's only $100, that's $1,200 a year you're saving. In 3 years, that's $3,600. So if you're going to hold it for 3 years or more, which it sounds like he is, that's a good move. And then don't take money out of it, like you said, because you have a HELOC. If you don't have a HELOC, we do those at the One Brokerage for investment properties. You put that on it so that if the opportunity comes up, you have the cash to go get it, or if something goes wrong, you have the cash right there. But don't put it in the bank and pay a decent interest rate. Remember when we were first starting this thing, rates were like 4 or 5%. Then they hit 3%. And the answer was just always, yeah, take out the money. It's 3%, take out the money. Now it's actually like some people, he's at 8%. That's not cheap. That's actually kind of expensive, especially if it's a higher loan balance.
Yeah, I agree. 8% is up there. You got about that at the height. We're down a little cheaper than that now, but yeah, I know. I just think like you sit there and if you don't do anything and you don't have a lot more cash coming in from some job or some other thing, like what are you going to do? Sit around for 10 years and not, yeah, you're probably making $500 a month in actual cash flow. Let's just say hypothetically, I don't know the actual situation. Let's say you're actually clearing 500 after repairs, maintenance, vacancy, CapEx, all that. Okay, so you sit around for 10 years, 120 months, saving your $500 a month. Like, okay, finally now you got enough to go buy another big property. Okay, well, wait till you're 75, 80 to get into real estate. So like, yeah, if you want to speed this up, you're going to have to constantly recapitalize, which is what that would be, a refi. Get the money out, dump it in a new one, get that one going, pull your money out as fast as you can, get into the next one. The velocity of money matters. Now, if that's not the goal, if you just want more cash flow, then maybe just pay the property off over time and then you'll have a nice retirement with, $2,000 a month in cash flow. That's also a doable thing, but it's not
Great point. I think you're 100% right. And if you guys would like to learn more about how to do what Brandon just said, always be buying property and adding equity to them and paying under market value and improving the property, go check out my book, Better Than Cash Flow, the 10 Ways You Make Money in Real Estate. Finally available in paperback. So if you're one of those people that's been waiting for it in paperback, I have fixed my problems with Amazon and you can go get it there. It describes how to look for ways to analyze real estate from 10 different perspectives where you can be building up equity and then recapitalize, like Brandon said, to scale your portfolio without having to wait 10 years because ain't nobody got time for that. All right, we're going to take a very short break. And right after that, I have a question from Cody that Brandon was brought in personally just to answer. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to the David Greene Show. Our second show sponsor is Hospitable, a property management platform tailored for short-term rental hosts. We use it because it helps us automate guest communications, booking management, and has a pricing optimization function across multiple booking sites. It does a great job streamlining our operations and allows us to manage our properties more efficiently and, most of all, improve the guest experience. In a nutshell, Hospitable lets you take bookings that come from Airbnb, VRBO, or even direct, where they have a feature that allows you to book people directly and save tons of money, puts them all in the same calendar and the same communication app. So no matter where the person is coming at you from, you harness it all into one central place. Probably my favorite app in all of property management. I highly recommend you check them out. I've had a great experience with this company. Tell them David Greene sent you. All right. Our next question, I'm excited to hear what Brandon has to say about this one, comes from Cody Newstater in Canada. Brandon, you're from South Canada, right? Isn't that where you
Canada Light. Canada Light.
Up in Minnesota. You want to tell us about what it was like growing up there?
Yeah, well, every day you had to walk uphill both ways to get to school, and we had our milk in a bag that was really good. Yeah.
It wasn't a bag?
It wasn't a bag. It was a bag.
Can you imagine what the world would look like if in a different timeline in the Marvel universe, Brandon never left Minnesota and went to Washington?
Oh, yeah, sure. That'd be so good.
That's what we heard for years learning how to invest in real estate.
Yeah, you just got to buy the real estate, Don't you know? Don't you know? My mom still talks like that. Down in southern Minnesota.
Did they dress you in like
keto
flannel pajamas when you were a kid with one of those little hats with the earmuffs and the red plaid?
I definitely had that, David. Definitely. We can hear this thing or not? What's going on, man?
I can't focus. That's so good. I don't do the Minnesota accent. It's one that I don't have.
Oh, you do the Scottish accent. No, that's good.
Yeah, I could do Scottish, Russian, really almost all of them except for Minnesota.
Hey David, this is Cody and I'm filming all the way up from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada in my basement office here. And before I get to my question, I wanted to give a little context to it. So in our city right now, there's opportunities where you can buy a plot of land or a house and tear it down and subdivide it into 2 lots. And the city will almost auto-approve 2 duplex builds on what was previously 1 lot, quadrupling the housing density. Okay, and so I got approached by 2 realtors at my office to start a partnership between the three of us, where we would raise capital. The one realtor has a building company. We would find these deals, bring in other investors for the other money, and then do an equity split as well as a profit split on the corporation. My question is, I'm still trying to build up my real estate business as an agent here. And so how do you avoid, in all of your ventures you've started, spreading yourself too thin when these opportunities come up? Thanks.
And you can see why I bought Brandon Turner in for this, because this is a complicated question about splitting up deals, and Brandon knows all about how to split up a big pie. And also shiny object syndrome, which I think Brandon Turner is probably the world's foremost expert in how to handle this. So what is your
I don't know if I
advice
handle it
for
okay.
Canadian Cody?
All right, Canadian Cody. A couple thoughts. One, I like that strategy a lot. I like ADUs, which is kind of that, but this is a little different. But I like just adding more density to a house, whether you add an ADU or you tear it down and put up a duplex, or in this case, build up 4 units. I love that strategy. I think that's awesome. My question would be, first of all, it's easy to just be like, let's just partner together with 2 other guys. Now we got 3 of us and we'll just split it a third maybe. And it's like, well, why? Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but why go 3 ways? Now all of a sudden you're getting a third as much. Is it because you don't want to take leadership and ownership of running the system and then hiring people who can do construction? You'll get way more and have way less, butting heads. Again, maybe these people are amazing and they're going to be mad that I said that. But anytime somebody's like, we should partner, I'm always like, I'm questioning why. Is there actually a reason to partner? And maybe there is. Maybe like they're just really good at construction and they're going to bring their value for sure. I've got lots of partnerships. The shiny object question, though, is a little more difficult, right? Like, I'm not an agent, but I do know that to be an agent, you can't be halfway there. Like, I don't know many good agents that are not like fully in it, committed for life. Like, that's their thing. That's all they do. And they do it well. Those are the only ones that are seeming to make it today. There's just not room in the marketplace for mediocrity anymore. And if you're splitting your time, you're going to become more mediocre. And so that makes me nervous to be able to split. That said, I hate being a real estate agent. The idea of being a real estate agent, sorry, David, but just you're trapped in one market for a long time. You leave and you lose your entire network. And there's no you can't sell the business, really. I mean, yeah, I know technically you can build up a big team and sell it, but it's so rare. It's like almost every real estate agent is building a business that you can never sell, you can never get out of. You're trapped in it forever. It's entirely market dependent. It's like the worst aspect of every job, and you got to be self-motivated enough to go do all the work needed to make the money. So I'm not a big fan of the real estate agent business in general, because I think it takes a rare type of person. So therefore, I would lean heavily into the real estate thing if you got an avenue there, partner or no partner. Yeah, that's what I'd say. What do you think?
You're smiling because you know how good your advice was, and you surprised yourself with that.
That's not why I was smiling. Smiling because it's just like I'm the worst person to give advice about shiny object syndrome because I'm.
You're the best because you've been an addict for years and you know how to help people avoid it.
Yeah, I have 13 companies right now. Shiny object is a thing.
Brandon just gave incredible advice to Cody from Canada. And let me tell you guys, the first time Brandon and I ever spoke was on Bigger Pockets episode 169. And on that show, Brandon said something wise and then said he was quoting a wise man, and it was his own quote. And we've gone full circle from Brandon quoting himself and saying a wise man once said to actually saying something wise.
I simply said, it's like the phrase, and I said the phrase, and you said, did you make that up? And I was like, well, maybe. I didn't quote myself. I just said a statement that happened to be an important statement. It was a good statement.
That you weren't Mirandized, so that can't be held against you if it ends up being wrong. Folks, go listen to episode 169 of the Bigger Pockets podcast. Don't be scared when you see what I look like, because it's very different than what I look like today. Yes, a little bit. Pop quiz, though. Do you remember what you were eating when I got on the Zoom and you guys weren't ready to record yet? It was just you and me.
Was it, I don't know, was it nachos or something? I don't know. I don't remember.
No, but that's a good guess. I don't expect you to remember, but I remember.
I was telling someone about this.
Someone was asking me the other day. She's got a brother, and I was eating the same food, or I was buying it, and she's like, "Why do dudes always eat soup? It's not a real meal." And I'm like, "No, it's fast, it's easy, it fills you up. For a dude, soup is like it caters to our worst nature, but it's what we love. It's like, just, we love convenience when we're eating. We will eat what is right in front of us. And if we don't have a woman in our lives cooking, we're going to eat really bad. And you were eating soup on that call. And I remember the way you said it. It sounded kind of funny. This is back when you lived in Grays Harbor and it was pre-beard.
Yeah, soup was a staple back then. When you live in a cold climate, you just eat a lot of soup.
There you go. All right. I think it's really good advice for Cody. I also think it's really good advice for real estate agents. I'm getting the question a lot these days. Should I get my license so I don't have to pay the commission? It's just a weird question. Like, no one asks it about any other profession. They don't say, should I get a law degree?
House inspector? Yeah.
Yeah. Should I just learn how to do loans and do my own mortgage? Should I become an electrician and fix my own electrical problems? It's a lot to learn. It takes years to figure out what you're supposed to do. And there's a lot of uncertainty. And frankly, 90% of the business goes to the top 10% of the agents that are all sharks and everyone else is a guppy getting eaten up. It's not a fun thing to do like it's portrayed on TV. I think it has a low barrier to entry, which entices a lot of people into getting into it. And then oftentimes when you're like, I want to buy that house, I'm just going to buy it, you realize how easy that was for the realtor. And so you think in your head, this is what it's always going to be like. That's like 2% of the time. It's 98% of the time constantly doing research, looking things up, talking on the phone, begging someone to like you, hoping that they're not using another agent, just to be disappointed that nothing ends up ever happening. And nobody ever loses sleep about wasting their realtor's time and not buying a house. They will always say, well, that's his job. He's supposed to take me to look at the house.
Yep.
But then when it's an easy deal, they're like, why didn't they give me back the commission? That's not fair. It's kind of an effed up system. If I'm being honest with you, it reminds me of in California, an ambulance ride is like $15,000.
Yeah.
3 miles. And I talked to the ambulance drivers when I was a police officer, and they said it's because like 20% of people actually pay their medical bills. It's almost all transients that never pay. And so you're paying so much every time to make up for all the people that didn't pay. And then they just go to collections and they don't care because they're homeless. And so it's kind of a similar dynamic with the world of real estate. That's why commissions are high, because they don't get paid for most of the work they do. So I think Brandon gave great advice. No, don't become an agent unless you love people and you love talking on the phone and you love working on weekends and you love answering your phone at all given time. You never want to have a vacation where you can tune out, because like Brandon said, you can't get out of it. Like, even if you try to, which a lot of people do by trying to build a team, your team members will they just want your leads. They don't want to treat the leads really good. Like, a lot of people have had that experience using a real estate team and they were disappointed by the junior agent that they had to work with. That's the nature of the beast, my friend. So I think you do what Brandon said. You focus on what you're buying. And Brandon and I have a mutual friend, Daniel Del Real, and he also says wise things like Brandon does from time to time. And he told me one time, no, he never takes credit for it. He's way more humble than you. But Daniel said, we were talking about partnerships. He's like, David, nobody likes to take the leap alone. That's why most people become a partner. There's no objective, real reason why you should do it. It's because you're scared and you want other people in it with you when you're scared. And it can create bigger problems later, like you said, when it hurts. I mean, how many partnerships have you seen that like worked out where it didn't hurt the friendship?
Yeah, not many.
No one talks about that, right? They always talk about the good ones, but it's rare that people become partners and it actually ends up being a positive thing for the people involved. All right, we have one more video question. This one coming from Brennan Bogdanovich.
Hey David, my name is Brennan Bogdanovich. I'm a fourth year medical student. I've been listening to you since you were on Bigger Pockets. I just wanted to say thank you for all that you do for the real estate community. I'm a huge fan. I love listening to your stuff. I do have a couple questions for you. So I have 3 rental properties. One's located in Roswell, Georgia. The other's located in Augusta, Georgia. Both of those have interest rates that are about 3.2%. So I'm not super interested in doing anything with those right now. But I have a third property that's located in Savannah, Georgia. And my interest rate on that one's about 7.45%. My monthly PITI is around $3,600. It might go up to about $3,800 after my homestead falls through. But I'm graduating medical school here in the middle of May, and I'll have about $200,000 in student debt. The interest rate on those loans ranges just because they change every year. So they range from about 5 to 8.5%. But when you average it out, it's around 6.5%. So it's about $1,000 a month of simple interest that's accruing on those loans. And so my question to you is what are your thoughts on me selling the Savannah property? So I bought the house for about $465,000. My loan right now, I owe about $400,000 on the property. I put a little bit of money down. I believe I could sell it for around $600,000 right now. I've added a bedroom and a half bath. The property's appreciated a little bit, but I do own that property 50-50 with my parents. So if I sold it, I might make around $100,000. So what are your thoughts on me selling the property and paying off a good portion of my student loans versus keeping the property, trying to refinance into a lower interest rate, lower monthly payment, and then continuing to rent that out, because I do see Savannah as a really great location. The other thing I do want to note is that I put a decent amount of money into that property. I probably put about $50,000 into it. And so it's one of those things where I think I've finally gotten to the point where I'm not going to be spending a lot on capital expenditures every year. And so I may be able to, enjoy the benefits of that cash flow a little bit more now. Once I start making an income in my residency position, I'll be able to use the income from all 3 of my properties to put towards student loans, which should be about $5,000 a month. So the question I have for you is do I go ahead and sell it, put the $100,000 towards my loans and cut my loans in half, or do I try and keep it and then continue to enjoy the cash flow from that property, even if I'm going to be a couple 100 miles away at a residency spot? The last thing that I'll add is I am taking in about $5,000 a month on that property. It's a rent by the room strategy. I have 5 different bedrooms that rent for about $1,000 a month. Again, my PIT is about $3,600. And so I do recognize that renting by the room is definitely more labor intensive and I won't have a ton of time. So I have thought about converting it into a single family rental. That would be much less time intensive for me. However, I recognize that the rents would probably not garner me $5,000 a month. It would be quite a bit less, maybe $4,000. So I will probably try and keep it as a rent by the room strategy. David, I really do appreciate your help. I know that was a bit long, but I thought it was important for you to kind of understand the situation so you can make your best assessment. Appreciate the help and hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right. Brandon, did you know that there was a Sacramento Kings player, I believe from Serbia, whose name was Bogdan Bogdanovic?
I did know that because I played a video game at some point, a basketball one, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the characters.
It's a funny name, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think, man?
Okay, I like him holding this one, is my first thoughts. I like the fact that it's in Savannah, which I am actually bullish on. I think that's a good area to be in. In the book, Better Than Cash Flow, I kind of break down the different ways that you make money in real estate. And one of them is what I call market appreciation equity. This is where you buy in a market that is more likely to appreciate in value more than the surrounding areas or the national average. And I think Savannah is relatively cheap compared to a lot of parts of the country, and you still get good weather. A lot of the Florida folks, they call them halfbackers. They moved from New York down to South Florida, and now they're coming kind of halfway back, and they're all settling in that South Georgia, North Florida area. So I think you're going to see growth there. He's got a good rate. He's got a good system of renting out the rooms. Like if you're able to keep 5 rooms occupied at $1,000 a month, I don't know where else he's going to deploy $100,000 and get $5,000 of income that's actually going to make sense. What do you think?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. I like the appreciation play quite a bit. I think that long term you're going to make a lot of money, more than the 7%, 6% you're paying on your student loans. I also just absolutely hate student loan debt and any kind of debt whatsoever other than real estate debt. I just hate it. And so I'm a big fan of just getting out of it as fast as possible because it just holds you back in life. But you can, here's the thought. It's like you could pay the $100,000 right now, and now you only have $100,000 left in student loan debt. And then you can pay out that student $100,000 over the next 10 years. Or you can just let that property go up for the next 5 years and then pay the whole thing off. And so if you can hold it, if you got enough income to be able to hold it, cool. I get nervous a little bit about when I hear $3,800, payment, interest, taxes, insurance, or principal, interest, tax, insurance, pity. You're at $3,800. When you on a rent by the room that's bringing in a total of 5, this might just sound like aggressive, but I don't believe you're cash flowing at that. Like, I think you will lose all of that. Because I mean, and again, maybe there's some numbers I'm not understanding, but like on rent by the room, you typically pay for water, sewer, garbage, electricity, internet, repairs, maintenance, vacancy, capex. Did I say that? It's like you're paying for everything.
Yeah.
That's going to be $1,000 a month. Your vacancy alone on a rent by the room, it's probably going to be 10% right there, which is $500 a month just in vacancy. And so when you add all that together, I actually don't know if it's cash flowing at all at that state. Now, my mind then goes to, okay, can you get 9 bedrooms out of that? Like, can you get the kitchen out of there? Shrink the kitchen, get the living room, take a family room, turn the basement, and now you got 9 bedrooms at $1,000 a pop. Now we're talking. Not for sure I would then keep and just keep driving up. But yeah, I would Yeah, I would question whether or not long term you're going to actually make much cash flow on that for the same reason we've been talking this whole show about.
That's a good point. I think I just assumed that he was cash flowing when he said that, but breaking it down like that, it's harder to get a tenant to rent a room than it is to find someone to rent a house, depending on the market. But in general,
Yeah.
most of them are like, and the ones I do that are rent by the room, we're having a problem with everyone being super bougie and wanting their own bathroom. Like,
Yeah.
even though the ones with shared bathrooms are significantly less, they're just like, nope, I do not want to share. That could be a California thing. I don't know. Maybe in Minnesota, people pee in buckets, and so they don't mind sharing a bathroom with somebody. But have you had that same problem with any of yours?
I mean, I have 2 rent by the room. I haven't got either of them rented yet. We're in the middle of the rehab on both of them. My understanding, I'm friends with the guy that like, you know, founded Pad Split. And so we talk about this. He's been on my podcast. I think that you probably are going for bougier people, where like a typical pad split is more people that, you know, again, not to put anybody down here, but like you work at Target, you're making $11 an hour. Those people, they can't afford $1,500 a month for a studio apartment. So they are happy to pay $9 for a bedroom, and they're happy to share the bathroom because they just don't have any other options. There is nothing. I do think California is a little different. The interesting thing about rent by the room is that the room rental rate for rent by the room is about the same no matter where you go. It's always about $1,000 a month. Even if you had $1 million house or a $200,000 house, it doesn't really make a big difference. So rent by the room works really, really well in markets where the rent is high, like average rent is high, but it doesn't have to be California. So, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I would lean, for all that reasons, I would probably lean towards selling the property. I might question this though. I mean, here's just a off the wall. Is that the right phrase? Like a out left field sort of idea. If you could take that $200K, don't pay your parents back yet. Ask them to roll it into another deal. Take that $200K and go flip a few houses for cash. No debt, no whatever. Just find some houses you can buy for $200,000. Flip those houses. Turn that 2 into 250. Turn that 250 into 3 to 350, 350 to 4. Now split that with your parents. Take the $200K, pay off your student loan debt, and your parents get their money out as well. You can probably do that in 2 years or less. I understand though, being a resident or doing residency, you might not have time to flip houses, but I would love, what's that phrase you always use, David? Like you got to multiply your money first. Is that what it is? Or you got to like something your money and then you can scale it.
Yeah. It was basically make it, amplify it, and invest it.
Yeah. So you got to amplify that money before you go and invest it at 12%. Best case, 12% cash on cash is what you're making. But in reality, you're probably half that or less.
I had no idea that you were listening to the things I said. I thought you only quoted yourself.
I also listened to you. In fact, I was on a podcast this morning, the real estate whatever. Oh, it's from Omaha. They're going to hate that I just butchered their name. It's the Real Estate Investors Association Radio. RIA Radio. RIA Radio. Anyway, and I quoted you several times. It's like my friend David Greene says, blah, blah, blah. And we talked about you.
That is so sweet.
They actually asked me, that was a good question. One of the best podcast questions I've ever been asked. They said, you have to fight either David Greene, Josh Dorkin, AJ Osborne, Alex Felice, or shoot, there was one more in there. Jay Scott. And who is the easiest to tap out and to win? And you have to
I got thrown into. That's the people that they put me in the category with.
That's who they put you with.
Was this an ego test to see how prideful I am?
No, but you should go listen to it. I did not say you. I did say somebody else. You have to go listen to that episode of the RIA Radio.
I feel like I know who would have been said because one of those names makes fun of us every time we roll. Like, oh, are you guys doing the thing where you hug and sweat all over each other? And how does it feel to hug another man and feel his breath on your neck? And like, I would imagine that person probably doesn't.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think I said. That's probably who I said. But I did say the person I would least likely hope to dominate was David Greene because that guy's a beast. So I did.
We had some pretty good sessions because I think you had a lot more training than me and your cardio was better. People don't understand. Yeah. Everyone thinks they're a tough guy until they get freaking tired, man. Chael Sonnen has a quote. I've heard him say that fatigue makes a coward of all men.
That's a great quote.
When you get tired, it is I've never in my life been jealous of small, short, petite men until I took jujitsu. And I would catch myself looking at a guy 5'1", 110 pounds, thinking he's so lucky. I wish I was born 110 pounds. And no one would ever think that until you actually go try to do it.
Yeah, you can just last forever, or just become a runner. Like I have good endurance because I'm a runner, and so like I can breathe while rolling quite a bit. Like I can.
You have
I
a
can
really
roll quite a
good
bit.
build for it also. Like you're
Long
you're
legs.
very sneaky. Yes, your legs are long, your arms are long. And so I would always be surprised. Like there's no way he could reach me from nope, you did. You were sort of, I would say, like Dhalsim from Street Fighter.
That's what I go for.
Yeah.
I haven't rolled in forever though. I miss it, but the only jujitsu gyms in my area, they only roll at 6 o'clock at night. There's like two of them. They're both 6 o'clock at night.
When the sun
I'm
goes
like,
down.
I'm like, I can't do it without, like, I can't just leave my kids like a couple times a week.
No, but
They're
I
like,
need
"Hey,
to come to
sorry."
Hawaii and we can set up something out there. And
I know we need like a daytime though. I did hear Jerry, our good friend Jerry, just opened up a gym. It's like 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away, but they have a noon
Is it in
class, so-
Kahului?
Yeah, it's up in Honolulu. So in reality, I could probably get there in 25 minutes at noon because there's no traffic. So I could drive 25 minutes, roll at noon, be back home. I'd only miss 2 hours of my day. 30 minutes there, hour roll, 30 minutes.
That's hard right now, though.
It's hard.
You're burning the candle on both ends right now.
Yeah, 2 hours in the middle of the day is not really a thing I can do right now, but maybe in the next year I can ease.
Yeah, I
back
mean
a
that's
little bit.
literally like a whole day of work for a normal
Yeah.
person. 2 hours,
Or-
especially in the middle of your day.
I can just do what rich people do, and that is I could literally just call Jerry and be like, "Hey, I'll pay you double of what I used to pay you, but drive to my house." And then he'd probably drive here, and I'd probably spend $1,000 a month, and I'd have private instruction multiple times a week. I'm just being lazy.
Could you
Making
get it?
excuses.
Could you take it out of your haircut budget or your massage budget?
I can't take out a massage budget. I can't mess with that one. Haircut, I could have Heather cut my hair.
Good answer. All right, moving into the next section of the show. This is the comment section. I'm David Greene. He's Brandon Turner. And this is the part where we read comments from my YouTube or my social media where y'all make incredible fun of me. And I put myself up here because I don't have as much of an ego as Brandon wants to think I do. And take it in the chest. First comment comes from the Mortgage Monday episode where we talked about what happens if your home is destroyed and you don't have homeowners insurance on it. From Tasha Wong, said, in Hawaii, we are being told that our wind insurance is no longer available and we now need to find wind insurance on our own. Brandon, what do you think about this Hawaiian wind insurance problem?
I've never heard that. I don't think that's a thing. I could be wrong.
I hope it's not a thing.
It's definitely, it's not a thing.
I think that in Hawaii, particularly, please don't roast me, Hawaiians, we love you. There is a bit of a culture of like, I heard from someone who said a bad thing, and then they
Yeah,
just
it's coconut
own it.
wireless. That's what it is.
Okay, there's a name for it. Yeah, I noticed it. I didn't know how to put a phrase into it. So this may have been talk around the coconut tree, and it might not be accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. First of all, wind insurance, like I don't even have wind. You just called it home insurance. Like it covers wind.
I think what she's saying is the home insurance policies no longer cover wind. And so they have to get wind coverage, they have to get separate insurance.
Yeah. I mean, I've not heard of it. I've not seen it. We don't even have a wind problem where I'm at. Like, I don't know many areas of Hawaii that have a real bad wind problem. Like this isn't Florida, the coast.
Yeah. And you live really high up on the mountain. So you would know if there was. You live with the rich people.
I do. I live with the medium rich people.
I'm sorry. I know there are much richer people than you in Maui. That is 100%.
The rich
true.
people are down at the beach. We're up on the hill. We're up in the slums at the $4 million houses.
Solid point.
40. Yeah.
He's joking. All right. Our next one. If you're from Hawaii, let me know in the comment section what's up with this wind rumor so that we can get rid of disinformation and misinformation and increase wind information.
Or I can go get better insurance because I clearly
or Brandon needs to get somebody working on that. From Angela Yan. I am not sure if I like your opinion that you think there are many tech workers only working a few hours a day. Do you know the stress of working at Facebook, Google, and Amazon, etc., when you are reviewed several times a year? You are judged on that you may never be good enough and are replaceable not just by AI, but by someone younger or possibly more talented than you. I don't have those jobs, but I have friends in tech and we live in the Bay Area. But I do see your point that there is a huge need for blue collar jobs. And I love it when I meet young folks that want to go into plumbing, electrical, or construction. I praise them hugely. First off, nice use of the word hugely. I've never heard a person say that other than Donald Trump one time. It's going to be big. It's going to be hugely bigger than anything that's ever happened before. Absolutely fantastic. But other than that, what do you think about this comment?
I didn't know you were harsh on these people, but I mean, do you remember the video that like took down like Elon took down Twitter? It was like a girl going a day in the life working at Twitter. Do you remember this right before Elon bought it?
Yeah, she's got a coffee cup and she's like, first I get my coffee and I spend 2 hours doing jack shit.
Exactly.
Then,
yeah. Then I go in the meditation pod and I sit there for 3 hours and then I get my nails done. I get free lunch. I do that for 2 hours and then I get my third coffee of the day. And it was like, And then I finally get to work. It's like 3:30 and I work for 30 minutes and then I leave by 4.
Yes.
That is, I believe, a lot of, I'm not saying every company's out there, but that definitely exists. I think the work from home thing that's going on right now, I think most people that work from home probably are not working 40 hours a week.
Those are the people I was referring to. They
Yeah.
work in tech, they work a 3-hour day, no one's there to see it, but they get paid for 8, and their morale is really bad. And we have so many people doing that and not enough people that are doing the blue collar jobs. That was the hot take I had. I went and visited a couple times. You probably did too. I went to the Google campus and spoke about real estate. I went to Twitch. I saw their campus and what they had, and it was amazing. It was like you couldn't believe. It was like Richie Rich, he's got a McDonald's in his house type of thing. They have vending machines set up that don't require any money. You just go push F4, and they have AirPods in there. They had phone chargers if you forgot your phone charger at home, so that you could just get a free phone charger and like keep it with you. It was like all free food, free drink, ping pong games, pool tables, video game rooms. If you were too stressed out and you needed to de-stress, you go play Halo on purpose. You don't have to hide it. It wasn't like you were hiding your screen. And this was like when the economy was just cranking along and no one wanted to work. And so these companies would offer this stuff just to get somebody to work there. I don't know that everybody's like that. I think there are plenty of people that work in tech that are doing the 20% that are doing the work for the 80% that are slacking. And they probably heard me say that and they probably got offended by it, which makes sense. But I think if you looked at everybody that was at home getting paid and saw what they were doing, they're not doing close to 40 hours of work.
I agree
hugely. Thank you.
Hugely.
All right. From 7 Out Hop Daddy. David, stay away from politics. I haven't even watched this video and I already know you are going to lose 50% of the people that watch you. I actually contacted Maury Povich about this and we did an analysis, and the lie detector has determined that I have not lost anybody on my YouTube account, still at 36,300 people. Please share this with somebody else so we can at least gain one more. What's your thoughts, Brandon? I don't get into politics like that. I talk about political change. Like I was talking about tariffs, basically, like how tariffs could affect the economy, and the fact that if they are passed, which I don't even know how much that's actually going to play out. I think that it's often you make your first offer and then they counter, right? That's what's happening. But if it did take with some of these places, I think we have to start manufacturing stuff in the country, and that puts people to work. And so I was talking about this could be like a way that we combat the AI taking away jobs is we create manufacturing jobs. And so Americans still work. Do you think that counts as politics? And do you think I need to stay away from them?
I think it probably counts as politics, though. I just think it's funny. Have you ever heard a conservative say like, stay out of politics? Like, no, it's like they never, I'm not saying, okay. There are conservatives there are bad conservatives and annoying conservatives, and there are bad and annoying liberals. But conservatives tend to just like welcome dissenting opinion and debate a whole lot better. And so when somebody's like, stay away from politics, I'm like, I know who you voted for. And you can't handle the fact that somebody might have a different opinion than you. And so what you're looking for is an echo chamber. And you're like, I just want to be in a space where everyone agrees with me, or they don't say it if they do disagree with me. That's what they're actually saying. And I think that's stupid. I think that also 90%, this is going to be a bold statement, but I would guess 90% of people who listen to you and me are on the conservative side of the spectrum. That is simply because like what's that? There's like a joke around there. It's like everyone's liberal until they have to get their own Netflix account. It's like all of a sudden it's like
comedian that, I heard
that. It's like all of a, I've seen that on Instagram. It's like everyone gets conservative as they get older when you have to start to pay taxes, and then you don't want to pay taxes, and you realize that like if you work hard, you make more money, and therefore you have a better life for your family. People just shift conservative. So our audience is almost entirely conservative. And so, when we talk about politics, as long as we're not being like, I just wish Joe Biden would just be the king of the world. I love him so much. I want to actually marry him. Then people might tune off. But if we're just talking about things that generally are more conservative in general, no one's getting pissed.
I don't think I ever give a political opinion. I think I share what they're doing and what we should think. I talk about Trump's housing policy and Kamala's housing policy.
Yep.
I did say Kamala instead of Kamala, and I got a whole lot of angry people. But I bet you that if I had said
it's Kamala.
Kamala, if you're from Minnesota,
Minnesota, Kamala.
I bet if I had mispronounced Trump's name, I don't think conservatives would have gotten angry. You do make a solid point here that it's only half of the people that like get really offended when this stuff comes up.
And they're not listening to you anyway. So.
Well, I did lose one apparently because Maria Christina said, I used to love David and followed him on all BP episodes, but the fact that you agree with the clown's policies, I am just going to look for someone else's RE and economy advise. I think she meant advice. She also capitalized a lot of words in there that didn't make sense. Jose Fernandez said, I bet you don't. And Anna Varias said, bye, Felicia. Next time, no need to announce your departure. No one really cares.
That is also another thing. People love to announce their departures. Like, this is ridiculous. I am leaving here. And then they don't. They just say that. I need a better echo chamber. I don't like that you disagree with my beliefs on how the world works. So I'm going to go find a new room.
I just don't know that I said I agree with his policies. I think I said this is what he's planning to do. You should know about that. You live in the economy where this is going to have a big effect.
Okay, give me a few minutes. I'm on a phone call.
Is that Wilder? You want to bring him in?
Wilder, want to come say hi? Come here. Look, it's Uncle David. I'm Uncle David.
Hey, buddy.
We're going through our emo phase right now. Look at this.
Wow, he is emo. Are you over there listening to Fall Out Boy?
Yeah, will you do me a favor? I want you to say really loud, where are you? Try it. No.
Where are poop?
Oh, you can't do that.
He got us. He got us.
You tricked me. Get out of here. All right. I'm going to be in the house in a few minutes to look at your Minecraft cave, okay? I gotta finish this, okay?
Hello, booty butt.
Okay. Thank you, booty butt. All right.
That was my little nephew, Wilder, looking as cute as ever and keeping Brandon on his toes. All right. Thanks for joining me in the comment section there. All right, folks, the last segment of the show, I'm going to get Brandon out of here. He's got a cute little boy that needs some attention, and I love that kid, so I want him to get some. The last segment is Quick Hitters. This is where we take statements from you guys from social media and share them for everyone to hear because they're often hilarious. All right, first Quick Hitter from Gordon Mack. Bro, where you at? One video every 2 weeks ain't going to cut it. Consistency is key. I don't know if he's sad that I'm not posting more or if he is throwing shade. What do you think there?
I think both. I think he's holding you to a higher level, something that you are capable of and you are slacking on. And you need to step up, Mr. David Greene.
Solid point. My social media is way behind. I don't post hardly anything. In fact, the last post I had came from Brandon himself, who said, you need to put this on your Instagram. You haven't posted it in a long time.
It did really well, didn't it?
It did amazing. I mean, if you guys want to know what I look like without a shirt on, go check out Instagram. You're in for a treat. About one of my Smoky Mountain properties. You're going to show it to everybody on YouTube, aren't you? Or are you going to show them yours?
I might. We'll see. I want to show you this one. It's going to be kind of hard to see. I found a new AI app that will give me tattoos. Look at that guy. Look at that handsome devil right there.
Man, that literally is a devil. Did you say make me look like a handsome devil?
No,
my favorite part is the belly button.
I know. Mouth. Yeah, the belly button mouth. Like, yeah.
If you guys are listening to this on Apple or Spotify, thank you so much for doing so. And let me just say, you saved yourself nightmare fuel that everybody on YouTube just had to experience.
I got to find you. Anyway, keep going.
All right. Our next quote comes from Chase the Golden Life, who said, sweet place, death not an A-frame, though. This is on one of my Smoky Mountain cabins that I did some work on. This is me hugging a very white and beta looking version of Jesus with a halo around his head. Again, somewhat disturbing, but AI is weird.
AI is weird.
Maybe it wasn't an A-frame. Guys, go check out CTC Getaways on Instagram. Look at the post that has what I thought was an A-frame cabin because it looks like an A and it's the frame, and tell me what I got wrong. And if you're one of those structural experts, maybe we can bring you on the show and you can explain what exactly a mid-century modern versus ranch versus colonial. What are all the other things that you hear on House Hunters that you thought would be a part of real estate that you never hear ever?
Yeah, that's it.
Right? You're like, I don't know what any of those things mean. I must be the only idiot. No, even us, we're bigger idiots. We don't know what any of that is ever.
It's a pretty house. That's what it is.
From Legacy Op, plumbers are not overpriced because of a lack of them. That's a ridiculous statement. Okay. Yeah. Legacy Op. Why do you think plumbers are overpriced? What do you think, Brandon? Why are plumbers overpriced? Or is he a
I think
plumber?
supply and
and he
demand. I think
thinks-
supply and demand's a myth. I think supply and demand's a myth. So whatever, it doesn't exist.
Do you think that Legacy Op is a plumber and he doesn't like that I'm saying that it should be cheaper?
Yeah, maybe.
Let me
I think
give
if
you-
there were 10,000 plumbers in your neighborhood, I think that changing a toilet would be like $85. But because there's like 4 and they take 3 weeks to get in, it's $850 to change a toilet.
That was my literal point. I have
Yeah.
a property. I need the toilet changed. My assistant Angela called a plumber. She was quoted $1,100.
Oof.
She called me and I said, do me a favor. We're going to make this a teaching point. Go to homedepot.com and Google how much a toilet costs. And she did. And it's like, $100 or something, $120 maybe, 150. And then say, call him back and ask him how long it takes him to install a toilet. But don't tell him how much we want to pay. And he said he could have it done in an hour. And I was like, so basically he's asking for $1,000 an hour to put in a toilet, right? I think that's overpriced. We ended up finding a handyman that knows how to connect wired or tubes together that did it for $100 of labor and picked up the toilet, and it was like $150 for I don't know what it was, but way cheaper. And you don't need a super skilled plumber to fix that problem. So Legacy Op, if you think they're not overpriced, I don't know, maybe you don't live where I do. And from Jeff Reagan, what's the best way to get an alert for your meetups? Is anything in Los Angeles coming up? Unfortunately, no. I don't have anything coming up in Los Angeles. I don't know. Are people still doing meetups? Are you doing them out there in Maui?
I mean, people are definitely doing them. There is one in Maui. I don't go to very often. Saturday morning, which is like family time. But we are having the REI Summit 2025, where David Greene and I will be hanging out together. Get your tickets at reisummit2025.com. Look at that.
Wow, you sound like you rehearsed that. That's really good, man. You got a silky radio voice.
It's my radio voice.
Do you think radio will ever make a comeback?
I think radio and podcasting will someday kind of more merge into a just digital listening experience. And I don't know what that looks like, but I don't think listening is going away. That said, when everybody, I still don't think it will. When everyone is not driving their car, I mean, 5 years from now, no one's driving a car, maybe 10 at most, right? We're all to be driven around. Do we just stop listening because now you can actually read or watch a movie or something, or scroll TikTok the whole time?
Or we just close our eyes and a movie plays in our brain or something like that?
That's probably likely. You put on your Oculus or something. Yeah.
Disturbing stuff. All right, everybody. I'm David Greene. He's Brandon Turner. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Seeing Green. I sure did. Brandon, if people want to follow you, if they're like, who's this guy that's really handsome and really fit and has very disturbing and cringy tattoos, where can they find you?
You can go to cringytattoo.com and follow. I'm just kidding. You can follow me anywhere you get your social fix at Beardy Brandon.
There you go. Look up Beardy Brandon. And if you are interested in a faith-based community where we talk about the Bible, we interpret it in its proper context, and we walk people through, especially like newer Christians, that's a great opportunity. Send me a DM that says faith on Instagram. Also, go check out Better Than Cash Flow, available now in paperback. Brandon, thanks for joining me. I'm going to let you get out of here. We'll do this again sometime.
Thank you for having me.
This is David Greene for the handsome devil himself, Brandon Turner, signing off.